I know a big reason women are scared to go off hormonal birth control is because they don't want to get pregnant just yet, and I am with you there. Hormonal birth control such as the pill, the Mirena, the Implanon, and many more are very effective forms of contraception and can definitely make things easier. However, if you're not already experiencing the horrible side effects for yourself, once you learn the negative impacts that hormonal birth control is having on your long-term health, it really motivates you to think about what other more natural methods of contraception there are out there. That's why in today's video, I'm going to share with you my favorite forms of natural contraception that are not only kind on the body, but that are actually effective, providing you with protection while supporting healthy, balanced hormones and better health along the way. I'm Madison Dohnt, and I'm a holistic hormone coach helping women take control of their health, reverse their hormonal imbalances, and clear their annoying symptoms naturally. Why did I feel this video was important to make? Well, because the biggest thing I see stopping most women from transitioning off hormonal birth control is that they don't feel confident in the effectiveness of other forms of natural contraception, or they just don't know enough about them. In this video, I'm going to share with you the effectiveness of each form of natural contraception. So for comparison, with perfect use, the birth control pill is 99% effective, but only 91% effective with typical use. Now, I know that you're going to want to listen to the stats for perfect use, but let's be real, very few of us are perfect. So because of that, I also highly recommend that you try to use at least 2 methods of contraception at any one time. And don't worry, this is actually very easy, and I personally like to do this even when I was on the pill many years ago. But remember, the reason why transitioning off hormonal birth control is so important is because, as well as suppressing the body's own natural hormone production, scientific evidence has also linked hormonal birth control to bacterial imbalances in the gut, increased intestinal permeability or leaky gut, increased inflammation, digestive issues, nutrient deficiencies, and impaired immune functioning. If you'd like more information on this and to see the studies, then you'll want to check out this video here. So what's the good news? Well, you can actually only get pregnant 5 days of the month, so it's not really worth taking a pill that alters your hormones every single day anyway. It also means that natural contraception is really not that difficult when you know what you're doing. So the first form of natural contraception that I want to introduce you to is the fertility awareness method, or FAM. This method works by understanding when those 5 fertile days are here and either avoiding sex or using another form of contraception such as condoms on those days. Easy. Whether for contraception or not, this information is great to know anyway, as it helps you be more in tune with your body and your moods. But why are we only fertile 5 days of our cycle? That's because the only way to get pregnant is when a sperm cell fertilizes an egg, but we only release an egg at ovulation, and we only ovulate once per cycle, if we're lucky. Once an egg is released from your ovaries, it will travel down the fallopian tubes and remain fertile for 24 hours before it disintegrates if it's not fertilized. It may then sound like we should only be fertile for 24 hours in a month, but the kicker is that sperm can survive for up to 5 days. Therefore, if you've had sex 3 days before you were due to ovulate, even though you are not having sex on the day of ovulation, those little sperm could still be in there hanging around ready to get you pregnant. The trick with the fertility awareness method is to know with certainty when you are ovulating so that you can ensure that there are no sperm hanging around when you do. Now, remember how I said that there is a difference between the percentage effectiveness of perfect and typical use? Well, with perfect use, this method is up to around 99% effective, the exact same as the pill. But with typical use, it drops down to 80% effective. This is why it is a great idea to also use a second form of contraception, such as the others we're about to talk about in this video, but I'd also recommend that you invest time in educating yourself on this method to ensure that you are doing it properly. The most accurate way to track your ovulation is not only to track your temperature, but also to understand your cervical mucus and the position of your cervix. Yes, it changes throughout the month. I teach all of this in depth in my ebook so that you can feel confident knowing where your body is at and what your hormones are doing every day of your cycle. The next form of contraception is actually a super interesting one, and while it was very common back in the day, not many of the younger generation have even seen one in person. Can you guess what it is? Yep, it's a diaphragm. Even when I first looked into trying one for personal use and as research for work, I read that it was best to get it fitted by a doctor. So because they're not cheap, I booked myself a doctor's appointment before ordering and asked my doctor if she could help me get the right fit. The response I got was that no one uses diaphragms anymore and that she wouldn't even know how to fit me. She did offer me the pill again though. With that, I decided to go ahead and order it anyway, and I'm actually so glad that I did. The only legitimate brand that I could seem to find was the Kaya, which is based in the USA, so my only option was to buy it from Amazon. I will leave a link in the description below if you're interested in checking it out too. The Kaya is actually a one size fits most, so I figured that I couldn't really go wrong. Once it arrived, I was actually really impressed with how easy it was to insert and how simple it was to feel that it was positioned in the right place. You can also insert it hours before having sex, which really enables a woman to be prepared and in control of contraception. So this is the diaphragm here. It comes in a little case and then you just flip it up, kind of like a compact mirror. So when I first received mine and I opened it up, I thought that it was actually a lot bigger than I was expecting, but it is silicone, so it does bend, and it just means that because it is so big, it is pretty much impossible for it not to cover your cervix. Kaya also recommends to use the diaphragm with their matching gel, which I did buy as well, but the great thing is that it is safe and it's different from a toxic spermicide in that it doesn't contain the harmful chemical nonoxynol. This is also the gel here, and the instructions tell you where to put it, and it's all really, really easy. I go into more depth about spermicides and other alternative contraception methods that I don't necessarily recommend again in my ebook too. According to research, the diaphragm is 86% effective with perfect use and 82% with typical use, although it is a great idea to use it in combination with the fertility awareness method or at least the withdrawal method. Speaking of, next we're going to talk about the effectiveness of the withdrawal method alone. But before we do, I'd love to know what form of contraception you're using at the moment, and if it's the pill, let me know the name of it in the comments so that we can see how many women are on the same one too. And while I hope you're finding this video super helpful, if you would like to learn more information and have my own personal comparison of each of these methods with their pros and cons to help you with making a decision, then I highly recommend that you check out my Balance Your Hormones ebook. In the book, I also teach you everything you need to know for balancing your hormones in terms of nutrition, gut health, exercise, and supplementation. So if you are interested, then you can use this little discount, and I will leave a link in the description below. So back to the withdrawal method, and although it is not great to rely on this one alone because it can so easily go wrong, this method, when done right, can actually be quite effective. Studies have found with perfect use this method to be 96% effective, but only 76% effective with typical use. This one also requires a lot of trust in your partner, but still, even if they are honestly trying their best to pull out at the right time, they're in the middle of sex and their brain is not the most active organ in this moment. Therefore, mistakes happen. 76% effective also means that for every 100 people that use this method each year, 14 of them will get pregnant. Now, those odds are just way too high for me. So if you are going to use this method, at least pretty please use it in combination with the fertility awareness method, and do not rely on it alone during those 5 fertile days of your cycle. Another form of natural contraception is the female condom, which is the only one of these methods in this video that I haven't personally tried myself. Unlike the male condom, the female condom has 2 rings. The inner ring is inserted into the vagina and stops just before the cervix, whereas the outer ring remains outside of the vagina. Therefore, it is super important to ensure that the outside ring remains in place and that the penis does not slip to the outside of the condom. According to research, the female condom is 95% effective with perfect use, but only 79% with typical use. And by now, I'm sure that you've seen and probably used a male condom in your life, but just in case you haven't, this is what it looks like. The reason I thought it was important to waste one to show you is because they are such a simple form of contraception, and yet people make mistakes when using them all of the time, bringing their effectiveness from 95% with perfect use down to 85% with typical use. So let's go through some common mistakes. Mistake number 1 is not putting it on until right before the end. Yes, pre-cum is a thing and contains sperm. Mistake number 2, putting it on the wrong way. This may sound silly, but it is very easy to do in the heat of the moment or in the dark. And the condom is designed with this little bit at the top to hold everything, but if it's inside out, then it doesn't do its job as well. Also, if it's not put on the right way, then it could start rolling up partway during sex, therefore making it likely that it could come off and rendering it useless. Mistake number 3 is using the wrong size. Now, I know that this can be a bit of a hit to the ego for the guys, but it's not helpful to use condoms that are too big or too small. If they're too small, they could obviously break, but if they are too big, then they could come off inside you or leak. Not the best image, I'm sorry. This is why it's easier if a guy just buys his own condoms, which I think that they should be doing anyway, because we have to pay for all of our period products and pretty much every other form of contraception. Do you agree or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. If you're interested in starting to track your cycle more closely and explore the fertility awareness method, then I recommend checking out this video here where I review my favorite period tracking app. And if you've made it this far and would like to support this channel, then I would really appreciate if you did so by liking this video and leaving a comment if you did learn something new today. Make sure to also subscribe and hit that notification bell if you'd like to see more educational videos just like this one, teaching you how to balance your hormones and clear your symptoms naturally. But that's all from me for today. I wish you all the health and happiness, and I will see you in my next educational video.